Hello, fellow entrepreneurs. Welcome to my channel where I read and summarize books relating to being a better entrepreneur. I've met no one who I thought was wise who didn't read. I believe reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. So today, we'll be learning from Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. This is an excellent book with some really thought-provoking elements about how we prioritize and manage our time as well as personal aspirations. We overthink, overplan, and overanalyze our careers, businesses, and lives. But working long hours is neither virtuous nor healthy, and we usually succeed despite, not because of, the majority of what we do. The key to success isn't in everything we do, but in the few things we do exceptionally well. This book focuses on the idea that you should focus on the area where you can have the biggest impact on performance, which makes a great deal of sense. Part 1. If you don't think big, you'll be limited in your options. When Arthur Guinness first opened his brewery, he had bigger plans than just brewing a few barrels of stout. He signed a 9,000-year lease on the property. Similarly, when J.K. Rowling conceived the idea of Harry Potter, she imagined 7 books about life at Hogwarts before she even started writing the first one's first chapter. Both of these people went on to be extremely successful, thanks in large part to their willingness to think big and start with a grand vision of success before even starting to work toward it. It's difficult to imagine them achieving such great success if they hadn't dared to dream big in the first place. However, most people find the prospect of big ideas or big accomplishments intimidating and associated with negative emotions such as overwhelm and intimidation. People are frequently prevented from thinking big by their negative thoughts. Our thinking shrinks and our trajectories are lowered when we fail to think big and allow these negative associations to dominate us. We actively limit our potential, dooming ourselves to mediocrity. Consider how far science would have progressed if someone hadn't dared to imagine previously unimaginable possibilities, such as humans breathing underwater, flying through air, or even exploring space. We've done a terrible job of estimating our limits in the past, so we shouldn't let our perceptions of limits limit our ambitions. Success necessitates action, which necessitates thought. However, in order to achieve extraordinary results, our actions must first and foremost be based on big thinking. Part 2. Make a list of your to-dos and prioritize them. They aren't all equally important. Most people make to-do lists from time to time to keep track of all the tasks they need to complete. But how do you choose which item to work on first once you have your list? Do you tackle the most time-consuming task first? Or do you prioritize smaller tasks? Perhaps you should just read them in the order they were written. These methods overlook a crucial point. Not all items are equally important. In fact, only a few of them are likely to have a significant impact, so these should be given the highest priority. The work of Joseph M. Juran, a pioneer of quality control management, supports this conclusion. He discovered while working for General Motors that the majority of the defects in their cars were caused by only a few production flaws. Fixing these flaws should be their top priority, it was clear. Juran named his discovery the Pareto Principle after Vilfredo Pareto, an Italian economist who developed a wealth and income distribution model in 19th century Italy. In his model, Pareto demonstrated that 20% of the population owed 80% of the land. Juran had noticed that these proportions matched his own. Only 20% of the flaws caused 80% of the defects. Juran realized that the 80-20 principle might actually be a universal law. 20% of your work or inputs always deliver 80% of your results or outputs. The implications of this principle are obvious. Not all of the tasks on your to-do list are equally important. Only a small percentage of them will contribute the most to your success. Prioritize your tasks so that you can focus on the ones that will produce the most results. Part 3. Think about the focusing question. The focusing question will assist you in prioritizing, creating actionable tasks, and achieving your objectives. Mark Twain once said about success that, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks and starting on the first one." This is excellent advice, but determining where you want to go and what your first step should be to get there can be challenging. This is precisely where the focusing question, a question designed to help you identify both where you want to go and how you can get started on your journey, comes in handy. What's the one thing I can do, such that by doing it everything else is easier or unnecessary? This question can be asked on 2 levels, each of which serves a different purpose. First, on a macro level, the focusing question can assist you in seeing the big picture and determining your overall goal. The one thing you want to do and achieve in your life. Your one thing, for example, could be your overall career goal. And second, the focusing question gives you a small focus to prioritize your immediate options and choose the most effective task to begin with on a more practical short-term level. You're looking for the one thing you can do right now, such as call that phone number. Finding the right direction in life is the first level. Choosing the right actions is the second. Asking yourself the focusing question over and over will not only keep you focused on your goal, but it will also provide you with actionable steps that build on each other, allowing you to make progress and gain momentum. Keep asking it, and who knows what you'll be able to accomplish. The focusing question will assist you in prioritizing, creating actionable tasks, and achieving your objectives. Part 4. The importance of habits. Sequential habit formation is the key to living a disciplined life. We tend to attribute Bill Gates' phenomenal success to the extraordinary self-discipline that allowed him to learn how to program computers in his formative years. This level of discipline appears to be an unattainable goal. How do successful people maintain such a strong sense of self-discipline? Closer examination reveals that the key to their success is not to constantly apply a tremendous amount of discipline in order to stay focused and motivated, but rather to use discipline selectively to form long-lasting good habits. Michael Phelps' success story is an instructive example. He is admired for his concentration and discipline, but he was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder as a child. He was thought to be incapable of focusing on anything. So how did he get the upper hand? He focused all of his willpower into developing a single habit, swimming every day. He trained 7 days a week, 365 days a year for nearly a decade, from the age of 14 to the Beijing Olympics. One habit is only the beginning. Habits are much easier to maintain than they are to form, so once you've established one, you can shift your focus to forming a new one and gradually build them up. For instance, you could begin by arriving 30 minutes earlier each day to clear your inbox before your coworkers arrive. Once you've established this habit, you can build on it by channeling your discipline into staying focused on one task for longer periods of time. After you've established this habit, you can move on to the next one. Building positive habits through selective discipline will give you the appearance and benefits of a disciplined life without requiring superhuman discipline. Part 5. Focus on one thing. Multitasking is now widely accepted as an effective method of working. The term is usually understood to mean doing two or more things at the same time. However, it was originally coined to describe a computer that uses a single processor to perform multiple tasks in rapid succession, a distinction that, as it turns out, is quite telling. We can do some things at the same time, such as walking and talking on the phone, but we can't effectively focus on two tasks at the same time. This means that even when we think we're multitasking, we're usually just juggling two or more tasks at the same time, switching our attention from one to the other like a computer. According to studies, humans suffer a time penalty when switching tasks, because it takes time to switch from one task to another. This time cost may be minimal in the case of simple tasks, but it skyrockets when the task you're returning to is more complicated. For example, if you're working on a complex spreadsheet and a coworker interrupts you to discuss a difficult business problem, you'll waste time switching back to the spreadsheet and trying to remember where you were in the process and what you were trying to accomplish. These time penalties quickly add up during the day, especially in the workplace. Office workers are estimated to be distracted every 11 minutes on average, and spend up to a third of their working day recovering from these distractions. Is it really possible to afford to lose a third of your working day? Determine what is most important at the time and give it your undivided attention. Part 6. Use your willpower wisely. Your willpower is similar to a fuel tank. Use it wisely or you'll run out when you really need it. The majority of people are painfully aware that they lack unwavering willpower. What's surprising, however, is that research shows that, rather than being a constant resource, our willpower depletes at different rates throughout the day, depending on what we do. When we decide to focus our attention, suppress our emotions, or change our behavior in order to achieve a goal, for example, our willpower is depleted. When our willpower is depleted, we are less able to exert it when new tasks arise that require it. This would explain why, after a period of making difficult decisions or doing tedious work, you might find yourself unable to resist a tasty snack. Giving in to a guilty pleasure is one thing, but making life or death decisions when your willpower is low can have far more serious consequences. Few decisions are more important to prisoners than the outcome of the next parole board hearing. Could something as insignificant as the time of day have an impact on such important decisions? Judges were more likely to give favorable judgments at the start of a parole hearing than at the end, according to research involving Israeli parole judges. This is because, as the day progressed, the judges' willpower waned. They began to rely on the default decision of no parole. Following breaks and a snack, the rate of favorable judgments increased again. Willpower at full strength requires a full tank, so plan your day to avoid making important decisions or judgments when you're running low. Part 7. Get used to saying no. If you want to focus your efforts on the most important tasks, you must say no to the less important ones. We've all struggled with saying no to requests at some point because we want to be helpful. Helping others can be extremely rewarding, but you must decline lower priority requests in order to save time and energy for your most important goals. Steve Jobs was well known for being just as proud of the projects he didn't pursue as he was of the ones he did. In 1997, when he returned to Apple, he reduced the company's output from 350 to just 10 products. That's a lot of no's in a row. When you think about focusing, you think, well, focusing is about saying yes, he said at a developers conference in 1997. No, saying no is an important part of focusing. Saying no to everyone does not have to be as cold or selfish as it may appear. You can always try to offer them a different solution that doesn't require your help, or direct them to someone who can help them. Consider implementing strategies to reduce the number of requests you receive, such as requiring employees to consult a list of frequently asked questions before approaching you. This may help, but keep in mind if you want to succeed, you'll have to turn people down at times. With limited time and resources, you must be willing to turn down minor tasks in order to focus your efforts on the most important ones. Part 8. Ruthlessly prioritize your work time. We all want to live a balanced life, to divide our time evenly between all the things that matter to us, but we rarely stop to consider why or what we are actually trying to accomplish. Because all of the demands in our work and personal lives seem so important, it's understandable that we strive for balance. However, this vision of a balanced life is unattainable and undesirable. If you try to do everything, you'll end up undervaluing everything you do, both personally and professionally. Imagine life as a game in which you are juggling 5 balls. Author James Patterson summed up the dilemma. Work, family, health, friendships, and integrity are some of them, and you've managed to keep them all in the air. However, you eventually realize that the work ball is made of rubber, and that if you drop it, it will bounce back. Glass makes up the other 4 balls. When the pressure is on at work, we should never sacrifice our personal priorities. As the quote illustrates, it's possible that the damage is irreversible, but how can we succeed professionally if our personal lives always come first? To focus on professional goals, the trick is to ruthlessly prioritize your work time. Neglecting any area in your personal life can be dangerous. However, in your personal life, you have your top priority and everything else is negotiable. Less important priorities will have to be prioritized, delayed, or managed by someone else until the most important tasks are completed. This strategy will allow you to concentrate on your most important tasks, allowing you to achieve outstanding results. Part 9. Time management is critical. You'll need effective time management strategies and the ability to accept some chaos in other areas if you want to focus on your one thing. Assume you've identified your one thing, the most important goal you want to achieve, and you've devised a strategy for getting there. You're ready to take on the world, but there's just one problem. Life doesn't have a pause button. The world does not patiently wait for you to finish your masterpiece while you toil away on it. Things are piling up. Other people and projects will always compete for your attention. Assume you're trying to land a big contract. You'll have to make some concessions. Your routine work will pile up or be delegated to coworkers. As the chaos in other areas grow, so does the pressure to deal with it. Learn to deal with this by trusting that the work you're doing on your top priority will pay off, simplifying other aspects of your life in the process. To put it another way, let the chaos build up. So, now that you've narrowed your focus to just one thing, how do you maximize your time? Set aside time to work on your one thing, commit to it, and defend it as if it were your most important appointment. You must also ensure that your physical surroundings do not obstruct your ability to use this time effectively. You must minimize potential distractions wherever you work. If this isn't possible, consider working from a different location. Techniques like these allow you to devote all of your attention to your one thing. This wraps up the summary from the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. Thank you for sticking out through the very end of this video. Nothing helps out my channel more than y'all watching the entire video. These videos take a long time to make, and it's a labor of love. If you'd like to contribute by buying me a cup of coffee, I'll leave the link below along with the link to this book. And as always, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe and watch these videos that might pique your interest. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, keep reading.